Okay, the fifth and final thing to think about when purchasing a rental property is free cash flow and the value of holding a rental property long term. So in the first section, we talked about how to calculate the spread, being taking your monthly rental income less the cost of mortgage, taxes, and insurance. To get to free from the spread to free cash flow, we have to add a fourth expense, which is your unexpected expenditures such as repairs, out-of-pocket costs, or the cost of having a vacancy with no tenant for several months. And then, so if you take essentially your rental income less the mortgage, taxes, insurance, and unexpected expenses, you get to your cash flow. Obviously, the more positive, the better, because at the end of the day, one of the main ways that your property becomes a sound investment is that you have a positive free cash flow that you're able to use on other things in your life or invest elsewhere. In the first section, I also talked a little bit about how up front in our example, we have a $400 spread. You really don't want to just start pocketing that right away. You want to save that in a bank account, let it build up to help cover unexpected expenses that might come up, such as an example with a $5,000 damage cost, where at the $400 per month spread, it was going to take about 13 months to pay off, which is a long time before you start getting back to a positive cash flow situation. So when we think about, though, the benefits of holding a property long term, in theory, you're going to have hopefully a fixed rate mortgage, 30 or 15-year fixed, where your mortgage cost isn't going to change. Your insurance will go up slowly over time, but I think that's a smaller portion of the considerations. And taxes will also probably go up over time, but typically those two variable pieces will not go up as quickly as your ability to charge more for rent and increase your spread. So what that means is, let's say in that example where we have a $400 a month spread initially on that rental property, then let's say a decade from now, over time, you've slowly been able to increase the amount you're charging for rent, just because either hopefully you have a good appreciation situation in your neighborhood, and the fact of inflation rates tend to just drive higher rent over time, that you've gotten to the point where now for your 2 units you're charging $1,400 a month each instead of $1,000. What that means then is your spread is now increased over time from $400 a month to $1,200 a month. Then in that same situation, or that example where we say we had a $5,000 damage repair cost unexpectedly, now instead of 13 months to cover it out of your spread, it's actually only taking you just over 4 months. In this type of scenario, you're probably able to get to a spot where you have enough money built up pretty quickly, and every time something comes out of it, build it right back up pretty quickly on that $1,200 a month spread, that you're going to be to the point where you're going to feel comfortable, maybe more regularly, taking some of that spread out and considering a free cash flow and using it in other places in your life. So, really that is one of the benefits of the longer you hold the property, that over time your ability to charge more for rent will more than likely increase your spread and give you an opportunity to have cash left over after things like your unexpected expenses, in addition to your taxes, mortgage, and insurance. The other way that you get a better return on your investment, besides just the increasing probability of free cash flow over time, is the value of the fact that, let's say you bought that duplex that we used in the example, and you bought it on a 30-year fixed. You paid 20% down, which is pretty standard, sometimes 25%, since it's an investment property if you're not going to live in it, and you hold it 10 years. Over that 10 years, you're using someone else's rent to essentially pay down your principal. So you get your spread over here, your $400 up front, but then some chunk of the principal is going down over here, so that if you're able to sell that house later, either for the same price or more, you're going to get more of the actual value of the home back, that you don't have to turn around and pay back the bank, right? So the longer you hold the house, the more and more of your money is going towards principal rather than interest, which is the piece when you sell the house you get back. So the longer you hold the house from that perspective, that can also be another great way to get a return on your investment, that when you actually sell it, you had originally put in 20% cash or whatever it was in your down payment, and now let's say you actually held it, 20 years, and you're actually getting out, instead of 20% of the home's value that you put down originally, something more like 50, 60, 70%. And then that's cash. That's a great, return on your investment in one lump sum at the end that you can use, elsewhere in your life. So hopefully that helps you understand a little bit why free cash flow is important, and that the value of your investment and the likelihood of a solid return on your investment will only increase over time.